So my topic is about channel partnerships and alliances. And let me just ask before I get started, how many of you in the room have either set up a channel before or are working with channel partners today? Oh, great. Okay. So the reason I'm so excited there are so many of you out there is I was told that this was an interactive experience, that it wasn't me just sitting up here and talking the whole time, that we're all going to share in sort of a kumbaya moment here. So feel free, those of you that either agree or disagree with anything that I'm sharing, just jump up, just like you did a minute ago, raise your hand, whatever. I'd love to have you share your story as well. Because what I'd like to do is just give you some insights and thoughts of my experience, but there's no one right way to build a channel. So anyway, jump in and participate. So yesterday, well, actually, before I get started, a little bit about my background. I was in marketing, ran marketing organizations for about 15 years, enterprise sales for about 5 years, and then the last 5 or 6 years have been mostly in channel. And the channel partnerships and alliances, it's a good combination of sales and marketing. So you have the creativeness of marketing, and then you kind of have the drive to the number, accountability of sales. So I like it, and I'm very relationship-oriented, as you could probably tell. So partnerships and alliances is something that, at this point in my career, I'd really enjoy quite a bit. You wouldn't guess it from the title of my slide. And I'll tell you what, I was thinking last night, I had kind of a rough day yesterday. And what made it a little bit of a rough day is that we are constantly trying to tune the channel organization that we have at InsideView. And maybe it's a dream that we would have it just perfectly smooth at some point. I don't know that any channel is ever going to run super smoothly. But there were just some bumps in the road. We were trying to get them worked out yesterday, and it was hot in the room, and we had the CEO and everybody trying to participate, and it was tough. I'm sure you all, there's nobody here who hasn't been through that. So I got back to my hotel room last night, and I was thinking, gosh, what kind of knowledge am I going to impart on this group? Because really, I just really don't feel like having anything to do with the channel at the moment. And so I was going to stand up and have the top 10 reasons why you should never, ever build a channel, Letterman style, throwing the cards out. And then I thought, that's probably a little negative. Maybe I shouldn't start off that way. Maybe we should just talk about some of the great things about building a channel, share some experiences, and we'll see where we end up. So let me just start off with a little bit about InsideView, so you know what my current context is. We were founded in 2005. Our mission is to help salespeople get the access they need to insights and intelligence about the customers and prospects that they are reaching out to, bridging traditional data about companies and people, social media, news and industry intelligence, and even a connection platform that is kind of like LinkedIn, but kind of goes beyond that to be more an enterprise private grade solution. So InsideView is really about helping salespeople. And over the years, we've grown to over 350,000 users. We're in 30 different countries, and we're evolving our company from being a direct sales only company to more of a channel company. Oops, let's go forward. So one of the things that we've realized, and maybe you have already talked about this earlier today, is that the market for consumer purchasing has really changed. Buyers have more access to information than they've ever had before, and because they have this access to information, they make up their mind typically before they ever engage with a salesperson. So that means the salesperson has to be way more intelligent and relevant than they've ever had to be before. There's all this stuff out there that typical salesperson has to figure out how to navigate all that in order to differentiate themselves and have a more meaningful conversation. It takes a ton of their time to do this, and a lot of times they just don't have the patience or the energy. So they go to one website and think that is sufficient for prepping for a call. So InsideView takes all of the information from zillions of different sources, well, 30,000 to be specific, and we bring it all into an application that sits inside of a CRM, in this case, inside of Microsoft CRM, and it allows the user to then have access to all this information at their fingertips. And you can see inside of a CRM record what it looks like and how you're getting news and you're getting information about contacts and companies and other feeds right at the moment that you need it, so it saves you a lot of time and helps you be smarter. So the reason that I'm sharing all this with you is that Microsoft is one of the companies that we've chosen to partner with. And that's significant because as you're building a channel, one of the things that you might consider is how to fill in gaps that your direct sales team isn't already covering. So our direct sales team is really, really great at selling through the Salesforce channel. You know, we're here in the Bay Area. Everybody around us has Salesforce, and it was a really great source of business for us. But what we also realized is that we needed to diversify the company. And one of the ways to diversify the company would be to find other similar channels that were giving us the same kind of experience that we had with Salesforce. The problem is that anytime you're doing something that's working really well and there's a lot of energy, that's deemed to be the easiest route to market. Anything else that you tackle after that is probably going to be more difficult. And so the challenge of the channel is, can you open up a new market via channel partners and have it be easier than if you tried to use direct salespeople to one by one call into a new market and diversify your company? We have a lot of partners. We partner with most of the CRM companies, marketing automation companies like Marketo, who's not only a great partner and a great customer, and then also some data providers like Equifax, which we actually don't use as much for a distribution network, but more to enhance or add value to our existing product. Oops. Okay. So let me get a little bit more into how I think about partnering. And again, this would be the point. If anybody wants to jump in and add anything, feel free to do that. So why partner? Partnering, if you haven't ever tried it before, is way more difficult than selling direct. And it's as simple as thinking of your partner channel as an extension of your sales force, except they don't have a quota. You can't fire them, and they might not even care to learn that much about your product or service. So that means you have a big challenge in trying to get them to actually do something that is as valuable as what your direct sales team would be doing. But if you can get them to get on board and to bring business to you, it's the one-to-many. It's an exponential experience or multiplier that you can't really ever get with a direct sales team. I've talked about some of these actually all of these are reasons that we've chosen to partner. There may be a number of others that you have, but all of these can exist simultaneously in your partner strategy. Is there anybody that wants to share another strong reason that they have found partnering to be valuable for them? Credibility. That's a great one. And I probably kind of put that in the category of brand building, aligning your company, your brand, especially if it's small or it's new, with somebody that is much, much larger. Industry expertise is a great one, right? You can't necessarily amass all of the knowledge or convince the market that you know everything, but if you partner with somebody who gives you that credibility, it advances that quite a lot. Yes? What? Oh, yeah. Why didn't I think of that one? If you'd like to be acquired by that company. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's about trying not to get acquired by a partner company. Well, those are all great reasons to partner. And hopefully as you all think about growing your businesses and the reasons that partnering might make sense, I would just cast a wide net. Think about how you can really leverage a partnership in multiple ways, other than the most obvious, which is just get through to customers. Oh.
The one I might add, just SaaS, particularly the cost of scale is so high. My learning is a partner no matter what you pay them. So even if you can't half the deal, you can pay them 100% higher than the fee. Yeah, long enough that they're still cheaper than direct sales and marketing.
Yeah, so just to repeat the question or the comment, one of the great advantages of partnering is that it's more financially, it's more economical than a direct sales force. So even if you have to add in the commissions or the discounts and the parties and the sales and the partner enablement and everything else, it's still cheaper if you can get the one-to-many than doing all of that same work for a one-to-one direct sale. So there are a number of different ways that you might think about setting up your partner channel. These are the ones that I have the most experience with, and again, I'd love to hear any others that you might want to share. An affiliate is what we call the lightest level of partnership, where maybe you have partners that just put your product or service on their website. Maybe it's just a link, and maybe you give them a 10% referral fee or something like that if people click on that link, and then you take the referring URL over to your site, and you get business. The really cool thing about affiliate partnerships is they take no energy whatsoever, and they can extend your reach dramatically. Organizations are great affiliate partners. So if you were, depending on what space you're in, and if you're in sales enablement or sales productivity, maybe you look at organizations that go out and teach a methodology around sales enablement, and they each individually could have thousands and thousands of members. Referral takes a little bit more work. That's where you would want to identify some partners, provide them with training and enablement such that they could identify good opportunities. They generally refer those to you, but your sales team, hopefully your channel sales team who understands how the partners operate, then takes those deals and close them. Pre-sale is one that is very common with SaaS companies, and it's not one that you hear very often, but it's kind of a hybrid between referral and resale. So resale, I think everybody's familiar with that term. The partner actually sells your product and it books on their paper. That's the most efficient way to do it because you really can be pretty hands-off. But pre-sale is where the partner runs the sales motion, but a lot of partners, especially if they're enterprise software companies, don't feel that comfortable doing SaaS billing or having that kind of recurring renewal base that they have to be responsible for. And so pre-sale means the partner actually runs the sales motion and sells it, but then slips in your paper, and the customer contracts directly with you. And then the last one, which is the holy grail of all partnerships, is just an OEM or an integration partnership where you just literally figure out how to get your software embedded in somebody else's software, and it eliminates all the sales friction entirely, which is a very good thing. Is there anybody in the room that has had direct experience with OEMs and integrated partnerships? A few people? Great. Yeah, it's generally a few number because these kinds of partnerships take a very, very long time to get done, especially if it's a small company trying to OEM or partner to a large company, which is generally how you want to do it because that's how you're going to get the greatest distribution. But big companies take a long, long time to absorb that conceptually and then bring all of the attorneys and the compliance people and everybody to actually make those things happen. So I would just say if you're going down that path, which I think is a very, very good path to go down, just make sure that you have a long-term view and a tremendous amount of persistence because it could take literally years to get to that point. When you are... we're an OEM. Well, if it were Monday, I would be able to tell you about one. I would say, well, let's just ask the audience. Is there anybody that has done an OEM where it has really moved the needle? You've gotten a significant, yeah? Can you stand up because it's hard for everybody to hear? Marketplaces, yeah. Okay, so just to repeat that, if I got it correctly, the example was in a hosting model of shared services, where if you can find a hosting provider, whether it's in telecom or whatever the space is, and really OEM onto their platform, and then they just become your, whether it's a white label or whatever the situation is, they just become your distribution arm. And then the other example was marketplaces, where we've got App Exchange and LaunchPoint and all kinds of other marketplaces that have now cropped up, which create a great digital environment for you to then expose whatever it is that you're trying to sell. A couple just, I guess, tricks, not tricks of the trade, but just things that I couldn't reinforce enough. If you're looking at enabling a partner channel, anything other than OEM, I would just emphatically say, keep it simple. The partners, unless all they do is sell your product, they have a lot of other things that they've got going on, and trying to get them to understand any degree of complexity is very, very challenging. So whatever you do, even if you have to take your standard product and dumb it down and make it something that's very simple for partners, it's worthwhile doing that, because they can only absorb a certain amount if you're not their day job. Yeah, absolutely. And I think I might have a slide on that coming up, but if I do, I'll just get into it now. So the question was, can we talk about partner enablement? And actually, no, I do have a slide coming up. Let me get to that in just a second. So the other thing I would say is, if at all possible, have your partners be able to register online in the most automated fashion possible, and then give them the option for self-service onboarding. So that means allow them to do their own certification, take their own classes, get current information if you've got new releases coming up. Make it all available to them on their terms. Don't force them to go to a webinar or something as your only method of giving them that information. But I would have those things available, say a monthly webinar or something where if they do have questions, they can go ahead and they can attend, and then they can interact with you one-on-one. So our partner program is resident on our website. We cast a wide net. We want all partners to come partner with us, which is another partnering philosophy. Some channel organizations prefer just to pick a small number of strategic partners and just go deep with those partners. And I think that's great if you can get those partners to carry quota for your product. If you can't get the sales reps or whatever the distribution end of that partner to actually have quota and something, a joint business plan they're committing to, I would not do the few number of strategic partners. Even if they look like they're the biggest, whatever the software is you're partnering with, let's take CRM. If you went after the biggest CRM partners and you just tried to be really successful with them, if they're not carrying quota for your product, they're probably going to be too busy selling CRM to actually do much in selling your product. So you might take a different approach, which is cast a really wide net, open it up to all partners, and then let the partners that start to perform for you move up the food chain to your silver, gold, platinum, whatever, however you want to do it, rather than you trying to pick your partners, let your partners pick you. Oops. Wow, I'm really challenged here. This is our partner portal. So again, we've tried to make everything as self-service as possible so that the partners can very quickly and easily see the stuff that they need. You can imagine there are a lot of layers deep on this partner portal, but we haven't put in a lot of pictures and graphics and things that make it confusing. It's as simple as it can possibly be. And we either send the link and direct our partners to this location, or they can get to it off of a number of different places on our website. What is it built on? It's actually just HTML. It's just on our website. Yeah, it's not an actual PRM or a portal site. And we did have one that was passcode protected for a while, so only partners could get to it and get the information they needed. But what we found is that really was just an added obstacle for the people that we wanted to get to the information actually getting to it. And so we just found that it was better, if there's something really proprietary, we don't stick it up there. So in terms of assembling your team around a channel, there are some things that you might want to think about. A channel team is a very different kind of animal than a direct sales team. And so my strong recommendation would be to keep your channel team completely separate from your direct team, at least in the infancy of your channel. So I'd say the first 2 years. Direct salespeople are highly motivated to make their quota and to get their deals done. And it tends to be more transactional than it is in a channel sales role. In the channel sale, you might have to go through a lot of pain on one deal that, normally as a direct salesperson would say, that was completely not worth it. But for a channel salesperson, they'd say that was worth it because I can see the next 10 deals down the road. So a model that I would not advocate is where you have channel partners that refer business that then gets worked on by your direct team. That model almost never works because of just the conflict between what's important to a direct sales rep and what's important to a channel sales rep. So you will want to think about having a team of people that includes, at a minimum, your partner account managers. Those are the ones that recruit and onboard your partners, make sure they understand what you're offering and how you can go to market together. Your channel salespeople, which are the ones that actually work directly with the partner's customers. And then probably a dedicated marketing person so that as partners have events or they allow you to do webinars or whatever the co-marketing opportunity is, you have somebody that's just focused on that channel to execute those things. Beyond that, you may have shared resources from the rest of your company. It could be pre-sales, it could be support, it could be product management. There are a lot of other areas that can impact the success of a channel. And I would say you need to have executive alignment that some part of all those resources are critical to the channel success, which may be a different conversation than what those same resources need to be doing to have your direct team be successful. Any thoughts or questions or comments? Did I forget any area here that those of you that are working with the channel find critical?
Your thought about how do you, as a representative, how do you make conflict? How do you set those along with you?
Yeah. Well, so you hit on two good things. One, you do need to have a longer-term view with the channel. It's, I always say it's sort of like a flywheel. It takes a lot to get it started, and then once it gets going, then it's going. And that is a sum total of my knowledge of mechanical things. So when a flywheel gets going, you know that it's going to be really hard in the beginning, and then you're going to have more momentum and a bigger payoff. So from a comp standpoint, you need to align your comp for the channel sales team to be more of a long term. In the early days, you've got some combination of channel development, recruiting partners, getting them trained and onboarded before they become productive. So on my team, we have people that can achieve their variable comp targets based on MBOs in the first 2 quarters that they are developing that part of the channel. And after the first 2 quarters, then they have a comp plan that looks a lot more like a channel sales rep, where it's more just based on actual revenue production. But there's some acknowledgement that it's got to get up and running. The other thing is, because at InsideView, we didn't want to have any channel conflict with our direct team, we did do double comp for a while, and we still do in some cases, so that everybody is rowing in the same direction just to grow as fast as we can. We don't have infighting about, well, that shouldn't have been a channel deal, that shouldn't have been a direct deal. I mean, at this point in our growth, we just want to grow. We don't really care that much about the delineation of those territories. Someday we would. I mean, it would be ridiculous to keep double comping, but you just have to figure out where you are in your evolution. What's most important to you, growth or, I don't know. But great question. Okay, the other thing I just wanted to emphasize is that it kind of like in sales, sometimes we think that we have the greatest product in the world, and if we could just tell everybody about it, they'd be so excited to see all the great features and benefits that we know we can offer. But at the end of the day, most people aren't nearly as excited about our stuff as we are. And partners are the same way. Again, if they're doing anything other than just selling your product, they have a day job, and you are ancillary to their world. And so you have to think about, what is it that I'm bringing to the table that's really unique about me and really important to my partner? Because if it's only unique about you, or if it's important to your partner and you don't offer it, you're out of balance. And there's so many people competing for channel partners, because channel partners touch the customer. And so you need to make sure that you're absolutely rock solid clear on what it is that's completely unique about you and important to your partner. Let me just touch really briefly on the concept of partner motivation. It's easy to say that partners only care about how much money they're going to make from you. And so you look at things like, what kind of margin should I pay for a referral versus if the partner actually sells the deal? I would argue, in my experience over the years, that revenue is further down on the list of things that are important to channel partners. Unless you're an Ingram Micro or you're partnering with a company that all they do is represent other software solutions, and so then margin and making money is really all they care about. I think there are other things that are more important. So I'll give you an example. We partner, I think I mentioned, in the Microsoft space, because that was a hard one for us to go after. We were unfamiliar with it, but it was also one where we knew that it could help us diversify our company. And so we persevered, and we ended up working with a lot of Microsoft systems integrators that were implementing CRM. And they really didn't care very much about InsideView. I mean, they're getting paid on how many seats of CRM they sell. And so we had to figure out, well, how do we help them sell more seats of CRM? Because no matter how much commission we paid to these partners, it paled in comparison to how much they were making on CRM and services. So it was really about how much more relevant could we become to them by helping them expand their footprint and sell more of what was really valuable for them, which was CRM and services. And we looked at things like helping them use InsideView internally, or making them more competitive relative to their top competitors in the marketplace. We also know that a lot of channel partners have gaps that they can't fill with their own product or service set. So in the example that I gave you with these systems integrators, their customers were asking about social integration. They were asking about data and clean data. And they were asking about, how do we get external 360-degree view inside our CRM? They're asking those. The partners didn't have anything native that they could offer, so we helped fill that gap for them. And it was very beneficial to the partners to be able to say, we have this great service, and here's how it works. And they ended up looking like a sort of a strategic advisor, it ended up looking like a hero, as opposed to saying, I don't know, like, I'm sure there's something out there. And then revenue. We could probably spend a long time talking about the theory of how much you need to pay for what amount of partnering. I don't think I'll get into a lot of that now, but I'll just give you just some rough parameters. For a basic affiliate model, a 10% referral fee is pretty standard in the market. For any kind of a warm referral where the partner is bringing you a prospect, hopefully a qualified prospect, but you're really running the sales motion. So you're really just buying that qualified prospect. Somewhere between a 15 and 25% referral fee is generally what you find in the market. And then if the partner is actually running the sales motion and taking all of that expense off of you, then you're looking at more between a 30 to 50% discount or commission. All right, this is almost my last slide, and let me just check my time. I think I'm over, so it's a good thing that's my last slide. I just wanted to recap a few of this. This would be my positive top 10 list instead of my top 10 list why you'd never want a partner. And hopefully these are some of the things that you can take away, and when you sit down and try to come up with your partnering strategy, you'll remember that these might be helpful tips or tricks. So the top one is the most important. Keep it simple, keep it lucrative, and make it risk-free. Nothing will kill a partnership more than the teeniest little bit of risk. If the partner thinks that you might embarrass them in a sales meeting or your product might not be 100% flawless, that will absolutely tank your partnership. So make sure you have those things locked down before you enter into it, because if you have a hiccup like that, then you have the ripple effect where your greatest dream can become your greatest nightmare overnight. Know your value to the partner. So that was kind of the slide that we talked about before, what's unique about you and what's important to the partner. The easiest way to find that out is just ask the partner. Why would you want to partner with us? What is it that you think you're looking for in terms of a partnership? Long-term commitment we talked about. You don't want to go into any kind of a channel strategy if you are not looking at least 2 years down the road. Channels don't get started in 90 days. They don't achieve any kind of scale in less than 2 years, I would say. Never seen it shorter than that. Recruit broadly and then focus where your partners are delivering for you. This is where I would recommend cast a wide net, let all partners come in, and then make sure you have a self-service automated way to get them productive. Enable a partner champion. If you're going to spend time with a partner, I would advocate that you find 1 or 2 people in that partner company that can become your champion. And maybe they eventually become your certified partner consultant. What doesn't work very well is to do hundreds of lunch and learns trying to get their entire partner sales team trained on your product. Because as soon as they leave the room, they've totally forgotten everything that you've talked about them, and then you sit around wondering why I just did all these lunch and learns and the leads are not flowing in. Just hardly ever works to try to boil the ocean that way. I'd pick 1 or 2 and just get some repeatable wins with 1 or 2 partner champions. Partners versus friends. It's okay to have partners that don't produce for you. Sometimes you want to be able to say that we partner with the top 10 systems integrators in this industry, because it's good brand building for you and you want to be able to say that. But don't necessarily have the expectation that all those partners will produce for you. They probably won't. But it's okay to don't get upset that they're partners, just know that they're more friends than they're partners. And focus your partner energy on those that are actually producing for you. Reference accounts, logos, and win wires. The number one contributor to success in a referral or a resale or pre-sale channel is referenceability. So whatever you have to do to get those first 3 to 5 wins that you can celebrate, and you can send out win wires, and you can talk about how great those companies are and the tremendous experience they got from this joint solution, the faster you will enable your channel to gain momentum. I would advocate in the early months or years of a channel, go for logos as opposed to big deals. Because if you're developing a channel strategy, you are way better off getting $10,000 deals than $100,000 deal. Because your channel starts to see that energy and that momentum a lot more than if you just had the one deal.